After interviewing over 150 candidates at companies like Google, Meta, and Samsung, I've seen great candidates lose the job for making avoidable mistakes. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through those top 10 mistakes I've seen, but more importantly, how you can avoid them so you can land that perfect role. Hi, if you are new here, welcome. My name is Tabitha, your Harvard-trained bestie, here to help you fast-track landing your dream job, negotiate top salary, and build real wealth. If that sounds valuable to you, join the community by simply clicking the subscribe button. It's free. Let's get into it. Okay, so today I have two friends that are going to be joining us for today's conversation. First is Basic Betty. Now she's been struggling to land a job, and there is Hired Hannah, who has multiple job offers. So we're gonna be using real life examples from these two ladies, and let's see what we can learn from them and how you can apply it to your interview process. Mistake number one, not nailing the 80% question. 8 out of 10 times, your interview will start with the question, tell me about yourself. The more interesting finding is that 80% of the time, your journey to the next round of interviews will depend on how well you answer this question. Yes, it is that important, but don't worry, I got your back. In the video up above, I will guide you on how to ace this question every time. Now, one thing I can tell you is that Hired Hannah clicked on that video link, watched it, applied the lessons, and has gotten job interviews. Don't sleep on this material, friends. Mistake number two, nonverbal communication. Now, according to behavioral psychologist Dr. Albert Maharabin, research results in the 7-38-55 body language rule. Now, what does this rule entail? 7% of all communication is done through verbal communication. Y'all, that means 93% is nonverbal during the interview process. So the nonverbal components of our daily communications, such as the tone of your voice and the body language, makes up 93% of your communication. So what does this mean for your job interview? So if someone walks in and they have poor body language, they're slouching, avoiding eye contact, fidgeting, this is not positive body language. You want to uphold an upright posture, maintain eye contact to project confidence. And if you show up to an interview confident, I can tell you as a hiring manager, I start to think maybe I should be confident about hiring you for the job. When someone shows up to the interview and is talking with a lot of confidence, I often take that as a sign that they're really confident in the material, the role, and being able to deliver on this job. And that's the energy you want to project during your interview.
Mistake number three, missing quantifiable results.
So what does this mean? It simply means that you're neglecting to share achievements with numbers and results attached to it. Don't focus on what the team did. You need to focus on what you did to drive results. Here's an example from Basic Betty. My team launched the latest Google ad product called One-Click, which simplifies the ad creation process. But here's Hired Hannah's answer. I led a cross-functional initiative from concept to execution, launching the latest Google ad products called One-Click, which simplifies the ad creation process, resulting in adding an incremental $5 million to the organization last year. Basic Betty's example was vague, didn't have results, was unclear what her role was in this actual project, where Hannah nailed it. Be a Hired Hannah in a world of Basic Bettys. Mistake number four, missing culture fit. If you don't know this already, I hate to be the one to break it to you, but one of the most important traits a hiring manager is looking for is likability. So what is likability? It absolutely varies from person to person, but there are some commonalities. We're not looking for negative Nancy's, someone who's lazy, or someone who's going to be an instigator on the job, who can honestly derail a high-performing team. Let's be real, hiring managers are people too. They want to like the people they are going to spend 8+ hours with each and every day. Just show up the best version of yourself. So here are a few pro tips to be more likable. Pro tip number 1, use the interviewer's name from time to time when you're talking. Stacy, that was a really good point. John, what a great question. Tim, can you tell me more? Stay positive and upbeat in your body language and mannerism, and avoid negative comments about previous employers, bosses, jobs. Strike a balance between being personable and maintaining professionalism. Pro tip number 2, spend 2 to 3 minutes in the beginning of the conversation to find something in common or to break the ice. Maybe you can talk about the beautiful weather or sharing a common sport interest, maybe even complimenting their background if it's something that genuinely stands out to you. If this is genuinely something you struggle with, that's okay. One of the best books I would recommend that you read is How to Win and Influence Friends by Dale Carnegie. Mistake number 5, sloppy backgrounds. You only get one chance to make a first impression. Given that many job interviews are now taking place virtually, think about your background and your setting. What does it say about you? And y'all, this does not have to take a lot of time or money. I want you to answer this question about your background. Is your background messy? If so, let's change that. Let me tell you a secret. A lot of hiring managers believe how you do one thing is how you do everything. So having a messy, sloppy background makes us believe that that's how you'll show up for work as well. And you just don't want to send that signal. So look at hired Hannah. She took my advice and spent 30 minutes to transform her space. She simply positioned a lamp in front of her so that she had the perfect glow. She brought a plant in the background from another room. She didn't have to go out and buy anything. And this was just to add some vibrancy. And she made sure to tidy up her surroundings to make sure it was professional and inviting. Bottom line, elevating your background will not only let the world see you as the best version of yourself, it'll also make you feel better too. Mistake number 6, timing misstep. Now this might sound obvious, but I have to say it. Showing up late to an interview is a big no-no. If I, as an interviewer, show up before you, well, let's just say I think one of 3 things. 1, you aren't taking this process seriously. 2, you have poor time management skills. Or 3, you just don't respect me or my time. The reality is you probably don't have any of those intentions, but that doesn't change my perception as a hiring manager. These are turnoffs and a valid reason for us not to move forward with a candidacy. If you have an emergency, please communicate as soon as possible and be apologetic in your delivery. Pro tip, I'm not gonna lie, I've been in situations where I was going on a video interview and didn't realize it was video conferencing software that I didn't have installed on my computer. And so I may assume it was Zoom and it was actually Microsoft Teams. And had I not shown up 5 minutes early to download, install, and set everything up, I would have been late. So best practice is to show up 5 to 10 minutes early for your video interviews and 15 to 30 minutes for in-person interviews. Mistake number 7, insufficient preparation. The absence of company research or a grasp of the actual role responsibility is a sign of disinterest to your hiring manager. So you're gonna wanna make sure you do your homework. How do you do that? You talk to people who work there to learn about the culture. So you read news articles to see what's going on at the company. Go as far as reading investor relations report if it's a public company to really understand the priorities and the vision for the organization. I'm telling y'all, the folks who do this stand out in the interview. Mistake number 8, talking too much. Y'all, I'm not gonna lie, this is a personal pet peeve. Don't talk so much that the interviewer zones out and start thinking about what they're making for dinner. Not to say that I've ever done that, but seriously, read the room and be able to modify your answer based off the dynamics of that particular conversation. So you see, Basic Betty, she shows up to interviews. She is rambling, sharing irrelevant information because she's really not prepared and she's struggling to get to the heart of her answer. Worse off, she doesn't adjust to the room, while hired Hannah clearly explains relevant context, actions she's taken to advance the project, and key results she delivered on. Be a hired Hannah. Mistake number 9, being a negative Nancy. We've talked about this one before, so I won't belabor the point, but do not steer the conversation towards negative aspects of previous employers or colleagues. Leave the negativity at the door and focus on the good parts from your past experience and sprinkle in some of the lessons learned. Bottom line, bring the positive vibes to this conversation. And mistake number 10, which may be one of the most important ones we discussed today, missing closing questions. When given a chance at the end of your job interview, are you asking thoughtful questions? Questions about the company, the team, and the role. If you're missing these questions, it comes across like you're not actually interested in this role. But having strong questions makes me feel like you are genuinely interested in this position. Pro tip. My favorite question to ask at the end of job interviews is, from your experience, what do the people who are wildly successful in this role do differently from their peers? By asking this question, you are communicating that you have a desire to be a top performer. And what manager doesn't want that on their team? If you like this video, you're gonna love this video that walks you step by step on how to double your salary during the negotiation process. You are brilliant and you've got this. See you in the next video.